Hey guys, Steven here, so back with another video. Now, a couple days ago on the forums, I did see a lot of people talking about a new game which was just recently greenlit on Steam. And of course, as it is a new game recently greenlit on Steam, which is also a modern tank game, a lot of people started freaking out, going, oh my god, this is going to be the death of Armored Warfare, oh my god, this is going to be amazing. So I decided, you know what? Let me have a bit of a squiz at this game and see what it's like. Now, currently it is not on Steam yet. It only just got recently greenlit, so there has to be, I believe, about a month processing before it does come onto Steam, or maybe a bit more. So I don't think we'll be seeing it until mid or maybe late first quarter next year. However, I did want to check it out still, so I went on to the Chinese website for the game called Fire, and I decided, let's have a look what this game is. Now, Fire is a modern tank game using vehicles which came out just at the end of World War II, going all the way up into the modern age. You've got multiple different factions, being the US and UK as one separate, as one together faction. You've got the European Union, you've got the Chinese, you've got the Russians, you've got other, which is other vehicles and other tanks from other different nations, and then you've also got special vehicles. Now, these special vehicles aren't very special, however they're very fun. They are technicals, basically jeeps and stuff like that with 50 cals or with a rocket launcher on it. It's actually very, very funny. So yes, you've got technicals as its own slot in the game. Now, tank-wise, you've got main battle tanks, you've got light tanks, you've got AFVs, you've got IFVs, once again technicals, and you've got a very large variety of tanks. Currently in the game, there are about 200 plus tanks readily available. That is, as far as I saw, I didn't really count it out, but that is as many as I saw, and that is also counting both premium and non-premium vehicles. Now, this game, I don't think I can really recommend it. First off, I believe I'm playing this thing in its maximum settings. I don't really know because it's all in Chinese. I can't really read it. However, the reason why I assume I'm playing it in maximum settings is because it tanks. Frame rates aren't very stable in this game. On certain maps, I can hit around 60 to 70 pretty easily. However, on some maps, I might only be getting 40 to 30. And considering there's only about 4 to 5 maps, that's not very good. Now, the size of the game itself, the download was only about 2 gigs, which then expanded into about 3 gigs. So, the game itself isn't big. It's not a big game, so that would explain the size of the maps. That would also explain the detail of the maps and the detail of the tanks. So big props to them there, able to have just so much in such a small little package. Now, of course, this thing does run through a launcher, so it will continuously get updates. However, it's not too bad. The launcher is pretty easy to work around if you figure out what you need to click at what times. Now, graphic-wise, this thing doesn't look very good. Also, sound quality-wise, this game isn't great either. However, the guns, I don't mind. I like the sounds of them. I like the tactile feel of when the guns fire. It really just shakes your screen, and it makes it look like you just fired a big cannon. So it does sound pretty nice and does look very nice in that sort of aspect. Now, maneuverability and everything like that in the game is also pretty solid. At no point did I feel like I had no control over my tank. I was able to very easily steer around the tank very easily into different positions. Along with that, wheeled vehicles were very easy to handle and maintain as I did drive around the maps. Now, when it comes to damaging enemy vehicles and actual combat, it is a little weird. I don't really know how it works out, but I feel like it's sort of like this, which is it's sort of the Battlefield approach. If you guys know Battlefield, of course, as a lot of people would, in Battlefield, how tank-to-tank combat works is that if you hit the front, you're going to do the lowest amount of damage you can do by shooting at the front of the tank. If you hit the sides, you're going to do a bit more damage, but if you hit the rear, you're going to do maximum damage. So hitting the rear does the most damage, obviously. That's the highest chance of penetrating. And that's the sort of the same thing that you have here. If you hit the front, you're going to do a little bit of damage, but you're not going to do much. Go through the side, you're going to do a little bit more damage, but once again, not much. And if you hit the rear, you're going to do your maximum damage. So definitely it's not a sophisticated game in the way that damage modeling works and armor modeling. They just say you have this much armor, and that is your armor to work with. Now, of course, if your shell can penetrate the armor from the front, then you're going to do maximum damage hitting the front. That's just sort of a way of looking at it. Your gun will always do damage if it hits a tank. That's sort of the thing I'm trying to get with. If your gun has, say, 300 millimeters of penetration, and the tank that you're firing has 350 millimeters of armor, it doesn't tell you where, because it doesn't say anywhere in the garage, oh, it has armor at this place, it has armor in this place, it just says armor. So if you hit that tank in the front, you're still doing damage, and that's something that does confuse me. Damage in this game is very confusing. That's one thing you got to understand. It doesn't explain it at any point. And yes, you could say, well, Devin, you probably didn't hear it. It was being explained in Chinese. But throughout all the tutorials, I had my phone listening in, trying to translate it for me. And I was, using Google Translate on my phone, taking pictures of the game, taking pictures of different sentences, reading it out and everything like that, trying to get the best explanation of how this game works. And it was never explained to me how damage and penetration works in this. So obviously, just from what I've seen and just from what I know, the game isn't very expansive in the idea of penetration or damage. Now, how does the game modes work? Well, as far as I can find, there is one game mode for PvP, and that is the game mode which you guys are seeing this entire time. You've got a singular cap base in the center, which you have to keep control of the entire time. Now, it's not like you go and you cap for 2 minutes and then the game ends. As long as you have people in the cap circle and you outnumber the enemy in the cap circle, the enemy's points will go down in 15-point intervals, all the way to 0. Of course, killing enemies will also reduce that by a much larger number, and depending on what enemy you kill, will also reduce it. So, doing stuff like that is how you progress the game. It's sort of a king of the hill sort of thing. You're trying to keep control over the central control point for as long as possible. But what I've found with the matches is generally one team is going to keep control of that entire thing for the entire game. If you are down by 200 at any point, you have lost. There is no way you can come back. I've never seen a single team come back from it. Now, you could put this down to the players, but I'm going to put it down more to game design. It really does punish you when you are behind. And considering that if you are behind the hill part, or like the central part, in that position, you have so much position to fire onto the enemy even when they spawn. The enemy cannot get back to the hill easily without them going down before they get there. And it's a big problem. Along with that, all the maps are leaned to one side over the other. It's very blatant. In some places, one team will have no cover leading up to the hill zone, while the other team will have tons of cover leading up to the hill zone. They're not going for smart map design over flashy design, which the game isn't that pretty at all, so I don't know why they're going for flashy. They should be going for smart map design, which the game doesn't really have. It's not very well done in that sort of aspect. So overall, do I think this game is going to even hurt Armored Warfare? No, not at all. Along with that, the current queues are worse than the normal queues in Armored Warfare. The reason why I was actually able to get matches is because this is played on Chinese servers. So it's currently a good time for them to be playing. So it's a good time for me to be playing. So I'm able to get matches easily. However, at no point do I ever feel like this game could even touch Armored Warfare. So for the people out there who are wondering whether or not this game is going to do anything, not really. I think it's really only going to corner the Chinese market just for a little bit. But with that being said, World of Tanks is also in China, and apparently it is very popular there. So who knows? We'll see. We'll have to see what it does, but just from what I've seen so far, I don't think it's going to do much. But with that being said, guys, I'd like to thank you all for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. I'll see you all next time.